بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق أجمعين محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. We are still discussing the subject of Islamic government. We discussed first the attributes of the ruler, secondly some of the ways and attitudes of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Imam Ali alayhi salam in solving the problems and how to deal with the people with mercy, with kindness. The aim was to guide the people to the right path rather than to take revenge or conquer the places. Actually, it was to conquer the hearts rather than to conquer the countries, Today, it might be useful to discuss something about the letter of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam to Malik Al-Ashtar. Malik Al-Ashtar was a well-known, brave person, and he was one of the near companions of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, very sincere, very honest, very brave, from a known tribe. And Imam Ali alayhi salam sent him to be the governor of Egypt, because Egypt and Arabia beside Iraq were under the government of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, except Sham was under the rulership of Muawiyah. So Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, when he sent Malik to Egypt, he wrote a detailed letter for him and telling him what to do and how to manage the government in that country. It was a huge country, and naturally one has no experience how to deal with the people and what to do for different classes of the people, and then what are the jobs of the government mainly to do it rather than interfering with things which are not job of the government. And that letter is fortunately available till today, and it is mentioned in different books. I go about it in short, it is very detailed and a lot of detailed points are there, but in short we may get an outline of it. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam started with the aims of this letter or covenant. He said, هذا ما أمر به عبد الله علي أمير المؤمنين مالك بن الحارث الأشتر في عهده إليه حينما ولاه مصر جباية خراجها وجهاد عدوها واستصلاح أهلها وعمارة بلادها. He made that this is what Amir al-Mu'minin wrote to Malik al-Ashtar when he assigned him to be the governor of Egypt. So here he mentioned 4 points for the collection of its revenues. So one of the job of the government is to collect revenues from the people. And that revenue is important because that is redistributed among the poor and needy people. So the government should care for that point. And we know that the religious revenues are khums and zakat, beside kharaj, which is there, and similar things which are the main revenues of the government. So that is one of his jobs, let us say the economic part of the government. The second one, jihadu aduwiha, fighting against its enemies. Again, to be prepared to fight against enemies. Enemies might attack the Islamic government at any time, and then the ruler, the governor, has to be prepared for that, not to allow them to attack the borders or even all the Muslim country. Seeking the good of its people, استصلاح أهلها. Here is about social reform. Now you need social reform, that the people, you have to deal with them in a good way, in a kind way, in a brotherly way, so that the people will be good and will be religious and will be honest and will be sincere and will be pious. So that what is needed, so the governor has to look after that point, not to come that I am now in power and I can do whatever I want and I don't care and I don't listen to anybody, I don't respect anybody, and so on, It is not like that, So it is basically to guide the people and upgrade the level of the people in religious matter, in social matters, in moral matters, and so on, to the community all will move for the better situation. وعمارة بلادها, and making its cities prosperous. Now again here, economic development, the city to be prosperous. عمارة بلادها. Now, on these points, they look an easy points, but when we compare with governments other than Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, we see the difference in the aims and objects. At time of Bani Umayyah, he at one of the years, the ruler of Egypt sent less money to Sham for the so-called Caliph, Umayyad Caliph in Sham. So he asked him, why do you did not collect enough money this year? He said, because there was a famine and I cannot pressurize the people, that they have no fund. He said, woe to you, you milk you get the milk. If no milk, then get the blood from the people. So suck first whatever they have, and if they don't have milk, the usual sucking, now like sucking the cow, you suck the milk first, but then if there is no milk, still continue sucking to suck the blood. So even if the people will suffer, you should not care for that, and you have to take whatever money is there. Or in another occasion, he asked him why the money is less from Ahlul Kitab, the Jizya. He said, well, many people of Ahlul Kitab, they embrace Islam, and now there is no tax for them as it is there. He said, but why have you accepted their Islam? You should not accept them as a Muslim, thinking that to take tax from them. So you see, you can imagine the way of thinking, how those dictators in name of Muslim caliph or ruler, they ruled. And Imam Ali alayhi salam said, no, istislahu ahliha, the people should be looked after, and then you have to think about economic development of the country. Then Imam alayhi salam explained to Malik the different classes of the people and how to deal with each class. When a government comes, they have to set a policy. There is a class, let us say, of the soldiers, the army. Now what to do with them? Class of the business people, what to do with them? Class of the ministers, or what they called white collars now, the government employee, how to deal with them? Classes of the industrial community, how to deal with them, and so on. The government is made of different classes. What are the rights and duties of each class, and how to look after them, how to encourage their positive points and reduce their negative points, naturally is not very clear. There are a lot of theories there, and then as you know, the governments nowadays, they every day decide a certain law, that this law to be there, we should nationalize the industries or not nationalize, we make them privatize it, that is the best. We should, for health, we nationalize the health or privatize the health. We increase the taxes or reduce the taxes. So the governments till today they don't know how to deal. They do it, and after some time they find a failure, and they change the law. Naturally, that failure was on the cost of the people, of the nation. The nation will suffer on that experience till the ruler realized that this law was a failure, was not a good law, and they change with a new law, and again another 10 years the new law will be implemented, and again it failed, and again the people will suffer, and then the third time a new law will come, and so on, like that. So you need to have a standard law, and very clear, to be clear about what you are doing, so that there will be no drawback on the society. So Imam Ali alayhi salam started the different classes of the people. He said, I read the English translation, know that the people consist of classes who prosper only with the help of one another, and they are not independent of one another. We should not say that, okay, we like the communism or socialism. We say all the people are in one class, one way. You say, no, there must be different classes, and each class needs the other class. So it is important to have that point. And here the classes are not on the matter of their value or respect. Otherwise, in value and respect, all Muslims are alike. They have equal value, equal respect. Here is the social classes, according to their profession or their duty or their job. So the classes is a social classes. And he start with them. The first class was a class of the soldiers, then the judges, and we'll come to them one by one. The first class, they said the army. And he said, فَالْجُنُودِ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ حُصُونُ الرَّعِيَّةِ وَزَيْنُ الْوَلَاةِ وَعِزُّ الدِّينِ وَسُبُلُ الْأَمْلِ وَلَيْسَتْ تَقُومُ الرَّعِيَّةِ إِلَّا بِهِمْ. He said the army is, by the will of Allah, the fortress of the subjects. Subjects mean the community, the people. The ornaments of the ruler, the strength of the religion, and the means of peace. So this is the job of the army. It is very important job, because the peace will be implemented by presence of the army. The rebellions are afraid to do any corruption, because they say there is a strong army and you can control the situation. But then, because the army is important now, if you put the generals, anyone, then the corruption might start from the army, because the generals themselves may see that they are in power and they do a coup and they remove the ruler and they come into power, like the coup or other revolutions happened by the army, and the army will come in power and will remove the, let us say, legal government we there. And then also the army may do mischief, as this happened at time of Abbasids, for example. When the army, they brought them, they were afraid of Arabs to be the army, so he brought from Turks, from Turkey at that time. Turkey was part of Islamic government. And those from Turkey, when they become powerful, they killed the caliph at times, and they used to control the caliph himself, that you do this way, that way, otherwise you will be killed, So again, now how to control the army and how to look to it of that point. So I say then, فَوَلِّ مِنْ جُنُودِكَ أَنْصَحَهُمْ فِي نَفْسِكَ لِلَّهِ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِإِمَامِكَ وأنقاهم جيبا وأفضلهم حلما ممن يبطئ عن الغضب ويستريح إلى العذر ويرأف بالضعفاء وينبو عن الأقوياء ومن لا يثيره العنف ولا يقعد به. You say, put in command of your forces the man who in your view is the best well-wisher of Allah. You choose the best people, put them in command of the army, not the worst people. So that is important point, because that one in a big position, if you want to do any type of injustice to others, he has a power, to do it. So you have to think of that point. So he's the best well-wisher of Allah and well-wisher for his prophet and for your imam. He is honest, sincere to his faith, to Allah, to the prophet, and to the imam, who is the real caliph. The chastiest of them in heart, so the one who is religious and his heart is sincere and honest. And the highest of them in endurance is he who is slow in getting enraged, accepts excuses, is kind to the weak, and is strict with the strong. Violence should not raise his temper, and weakness should not keep him sitting. So what a beautiful words is mentioning here. You say he should not get angry quickly because he's in power. He can do injustice if he gets angry quickly. He should not. And if somebody come and ask him for forgiveness, that sorry, I did a mistake, he should accept that from people. Not to say, well, I am in power, I will take revenge from him. No, that should not be his case, And he should be kind to the weak people. He should look after them, not to say, well, I am in chair, in power, I don't care. No. And then he's strict with the strong people, because usually the strong people are attacking others or are misusing their power. Because he is strong, he is head of a tribe, or he's powerful, or whatever reason. So they usually transgress to others. So you have to choose someone who is strict with them. And the one who should not raise his temper, he should not be moody, that he is affected by his temper. He gets angry right away and he destroy everything, No, he should not be moody. And he should not feel weak to sit because he is lazy and is not working. So you see such a beautiful description of the people to be used. Well, it was mentioned about Malik Al-Ashtar himself, who was in Kufa, and he was head of the army of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. He was a tall man, and one day was just walking in the market. Somebody from the desert, he looked a tall man. He started making fun of him and criticizing him. Oh, what a tall man! What shape, he's like this, like that, So start abusing him in the market in front of the people. Malik did not care, and he did not listen to what he says, When Malik left, the people came and told him, oh, what have you done? You don't know who is this man. This man is head of the army of Amir al-Mu'minin. Now he will kill you. He will kill all your people, who defend you. What are you doing, Then he got, afraid, and he came asking people, have you seen Malik, where has he gone? They said, yes, well, he has gone to the mosque, He came to the mosque, and so Malik Al-Ashtar was praying. He waited there to just ask to excuse him so that it will not lead to bad consequences. Then when Malik Al-Ashtar finished, he came and he said, well, sorry, I did not recognize you and made fun of you. Well, I need to excuse me. Malik said, by Allah, I did not come to the mosque except to pray for your guidance. I came and prayed these 2 rak'ahs and asked Allah to guide you so that you will not make fun of the people, because whoever the people, this is not a good thing. So you can imagine Malik with all that bravery, physical power, and the power of position to be head of the army, still he did not care for that person, and he came praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that Allah may guide him to the right path. And probably prayer of Malik was the reason that he was guided. So you see, such people should be honest, sincere, pious, and at the same time wise and strict in matters which need strictness, and they are peaceful in matters which needs peace. So those should be head of the army. Now, a lot of details, I mean, we say just in short. We go to the second group. Now they are the judges or the chief judge. ثم اختر للحكم بين الناس أفضل رعيتك في نفسك. I read the translation. You see, for the settlement of disputes among people, select him who is the most distinguished of your people in your view, of your subjects in your view. So the one he is the more distinguished, the one he has honor, has respect, is neutral in his mood, in his emotion, religious. He will not care for personal matters. So that has to be made as the judge, you know. So Imam gave little more description. He said the cases coming before him should not vex him. Disputing should not enrage him. He should not insist on any wrong point, and should not grudge accepting the truth when he perceives it. He should not lean towards greed, and should not content himself with a cursory understanding of a matter without going thoroughly into it. You see, all those are details how the judge should deal and what are attributes of the judge in that case, you know. He should be most ready to stop to ponder on doubtful points, most regardful of arguments, least disgusted at the quarrel of litigants, most patient at probing into matters, and most fearless at the time of passing judgment. Praise should not make him vain, and elation should not make him lean to any side. Such people are very few. So he's telling him that a person who is so controlling his emotion that if the people praise him, he will not judge in his favor just because this man praised him and that man do not know him. So it has to be very just, very neutral, and he think wisely and will try his best for the proper judgment. And he said not everybody is suitable for that. You know, such people are very few in number. You see, unfortunately, in many countries where corruption is there, you know, they bribe the judge in different way, you know. Send him a gift in advance or promise him a gift later on. And he said, well, this is a gift, you know, you are a good man and we respect you, so it's a gift, you know, not a bribe, you know. Well, if he is in need of money and if he is weak, not that controlling himself, he will say, okay, well, this is a gift. It makes no difference, so I'm not taking any bribe. Somebody gave me a gift. Okay, you can accept a gift from anybody, and so on. So I try to find a way to legalize the bribery in any way, you know. So the Imam is pointing out to those points that he should not be at that position. And now a problem is there in the governments. They give low salary to the judge. When the salary of the judge is low, then naturally the personal need will always pressurize him. The need of his family, children. He might not be that just person to control himself fully, you know. So Imam is saying here, then you have to look after him financially to be self-satisfied, so that he will not think to be dishonest and get influenced by bribery of the people. ثم أكثر تعاهد قضاءه وافسح له في البذل ما يزيل علته. First, he said, then very often check his decisions. Now, the judge should not think that whatever he decides is right and nobody is above him. He said, no, you have to always control. Every now and then come and see his judgments are right or not. Is it fair or not fair? Is he implementing justice, or he is judging in a wrong way, in emotional way, unjustly, taking right of this or right of that, and without any proper. So when he see the judge knows that you are controlling him and looking after the judgment, naturally he try to be always neutral and give the right justice. The second point, he said, and allow him so much money as remuneration that he has no excuse worth hearing for not being honest, and there remains no occasion for him to go to others for his needs. Give him that rank. Well, that is the third point. So the second point, he said, give him enough money so he has no excuse. Tomorrow he will not be bribed or influenced. He said, well, I was under pressure and I don't know what to do. And that is like a state of muttar, emergency for me. He said, no, there should be no excuse for him, because always he is self-satisfied, and you give him enough money to be self-satisfied. And then the problem here, the judge, if he is strict and honest, some people who are influential will abuse him in front of the ruler. They say the judge is very bad, is dishonest. Now one person will come, two people will come, three people will come. Now if you hear 10 times, criticism, then the ruler will say, oh, something must be wrong. He cannot accuse all of the people, but then the corrupt people sometimes are more in the society. So they always, because of their influence, their power, of media and so on, so they can change mind of the ruler. So the judge will feel that he is not secure, If those influential people with big power, big money, finance, media, etc., whatever, tribal power, etc., if he judge against them because they did the mistake, for example, then he is not secured by the ruler. He will not protect him. So he say, give the judge such a great position with you that no one has any way to think that no, you can leave the judge for sake of others. Give him such a big position, big care, big respect, so the people will know that since you are respecting the judge in that way, it is impossible to change your mind. See, in some of the countries, they make like a drama, because the people cannot respect the judge. Are tribal countries, and they respect head of a tribe. If head of a tribe do any mistake, who can bring him to the court? So that is not easy for people to digest. So they make a case against the king, a fake case, and then he go to the court and say, well, I have a case against the king, and the king himself comes to the court, and they show it in public that, okay, the court asked the king to come, and the king came, and he defended himself, and he proved that he was innocent and what was said. So to show others that even the king can be brought into justice, So that, so here Imam said, give him that position that others cannot say that he is bad or that. No, they know he is very near and dear to you. Give him that rank in your audience for which no one else among your chiefs aspires, so that he remains safe from the harm of those around you. Safe from the harm of those around you. That is practical things. I mean, we face in some of the countries, the backward countries, when there is corruption. If the judge is really just, all the criticism is against him. If he is dishonest, nobody talk against him, because those who criticize him are those who are wrongdoers. When they bribe the judge and judge give the case in their favor, So naturally, they are the poor and needy people. They have no media. They have no power to raise their voice. So Imam said, no, you have to look after the judge. So the judge should be safe here. And then you should have piercing eye in this matter, because this religion has formerly been a prisoner in the hands of vicious persons when action was taken according to passion and worldly wealth was sought. You say, before you, Malik, that you are going, this religion was in hand of bad people, bad rulers were there. And those rulers did a lot of injustice. And the people were practicing to their selfish desires and worldly desires. Now you have to implement justice and this way of government so that the people live peacefully. Well, still more details. We go to the third class, and that is the executive officers. ثم انظر في أمور عمالك فاستعملهم اختبارا ولا تولهم محاباة وأثرة. Thereafter, look into the affairs of your executives. Give them appointment after tests, and do not appoint them according to partiality or favoritism. This is one of the very critical issues in the government. Now, if you run a government, whom do you give power, in the office, as officers in ministries, different sections of the ministries? Who are the directors, or the ministers first, and the directors, and so on? One by one, the class will come down. Whom to appoint? Those who are sincere to you, but they don't know administration, or those who know administration. They may not like you very much, but they are very good administrator. Let us say, the specialist people, who everyone is specialized in his job. To make, let us say, minister of health. You bring a doctor who is very well aware of the medical problem and is very good administrator. You keep him as minister, or you bring one of your party to be there so that he will get a good salary and good position. Which one? Said, naturally, you bring the specialist people in every field. Okay, if they do wrong, there is control of the government. But if they are a specialist, naturally, they know the job and they work for prosperity of their ministry, in whatever position you have. So here, he said, first you test them. استعملهم اختبارا. First you test them. And then and do not use them because he is related to you, or he is a friend, or somebody else. You are a friend. He said, well, okay, my son, put him in this position, in that position. No, that should not be the case. Put everyone who is good in his job after testing him. Well, it happened as it is said in beginning of Soviet Union, when it was established first. He said, who should be the head of the main bank, the reserve bank of the Russia at that time, and they appointed someone who know nothing about economy, because he is very sincere, very honest to the Communist Party. He was appointed there because he said, we don't care for the specialist people, we care for those who are honest to the party. So they always will listen to what the government will say, because they are sincere to the Communist Party. But then ultimately the economy of the country was ruined, and they forced to change it and bring some people who are specialized to run affairs of the economy of the country. It's not easy to get any people. Well, first of all, in Islam, there are no parties in Islam. There is ummah wahida, one ummah. There are no divisions that you make different parties in the Muslim government. No, parties are not encouraged in Islam. They say all of you are one ummah. Okay, you have different views, fine. Your views are respected. Sometimes we do election. Okay, election of the majority might be respected, of course, on certain occasions, election, not for the ruler, because you say the ruler is appointed by Allah and the Prophet or the Imam, and so on. We discuss that. But about different situations, they might ask the people to elect those who will be there in a provincial level or in a civil matters and so on. Might be, in many cases, you might need to know view of the people. But in general, it is not there to make parties, and each party has a different ideas and views. Why different ideas? All of them have one view, one Islamic view, which is very clear. Islam is a religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Its rules and regulations are very clear. So it is different, let us say, views of people how to implement Islamic value in the best way. So you bring the specialist people who can implement. Okay, they may do sometimes a mistake because they are not infallible, but they try their best to do the best position. I mean, when you put head of the army, the best, then he knows what type of armaments to buy and how to train the people, how many to be trained, and at what age to take. Should it be military service to be obligatory or not obligatory, and so on. All those details are to be decided by the expertise, So if another one comes, there is a little difference in the strategy. He said, well, we need missiles, not fighting airplanes, because airplanes now are not very efficient. We need missiles, for example, So there are little changes here and there on the general need of the Muslim Ummah, not in the detail that, well, I am rightist or I am leftist or I'm that. No, there is no rightist, leftist. All is one Ummah. وأن هذه أمتكم أمة واحدة. This Ummah is one Ummah. All one. Not to divide them into parties, and then each party will bring his own people, even if they are not capable, but for sake of propaganda, they may win the election. But again, sometimes they misuse the power for sake of getting elected by people. They may tell the people, promise them what is bad for the government, but because the people like it, so he said, well, I don't care if it is bad for the government, let the government finish. I don't care as long as the people elect me and I got a position. I don't care for the benefit of the government. It can't be in that way. So the situation is very alarming. So now when you use the people to come, first of all, they are under one ummah. There is no party. There's a party of the government, is ruling party. Now the other party is opposition party. No. All of the ummah is ruling and all the ummah is opposition. If somebody do mistake, all of them are opposing him as part of a duty of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar, enjoining good and forbidding wrong. So it's the duty of all ummah. And if he is doing good, all ummah should encourage him for doing good. So there is no parties in that sense, So you say when you get the people, now you know that among the people, some are honest, some are dishonest. So those who have experience, choose them. وَتَوَخَّ مِنْهُمْ أَهْلَ التَّجْرُبَةِ وَالْحَيَاءِ. Select from among them those who are people of experience and modesty. Haya, modesty is important. Anybody in any position should not be harsh to people. You say, because I am in power, I don't care. He should be very modest, very honest, very sincere in that way. He looked to the people as his brothers, if elderly like a father, if younger to him like sons. So he has to be in that. من أهل البيوتات الصالحة, hailing from virtuous houses. If his life, it was in a good family with good upbringing and good morality, good behavior, then choose that, because from his childhood he was brought up in a good situation. That person can't go wrong, because that is against his mood. Of course, if you can reach in a state that all the people are honest, are sincere from their childhood, you can train them to be honest, to be sincere, to be religious, to be pious, to be fair. Well, that is fair enough. That is ideal. But sometimes it is not possible. New people coming or new tribes accept Islam, let us say, and still their background is there. So he said you have to be careful about that point. والقدم في الإسلام المتقدمة, and they should, having been previously in Islam, they stayed a longer time as a Muslim, not a new Muslim, because they understood the religious duties and they were brought up to fulfill religious duties. Because such persons possess high manners and untarnished honor. So these people, they have good morality and they have honor, and they do not expect selfish benefits, because they are already an honored people, So choose those people. They are least inclined toward greed and always have their eyes on the ends of matters, They think the end of the matter, not greed for the time being. So what will be the future? If I do a mistake, and suppose nobody knows me now, but will that be exposed in the future? Yes, then, well, I have an honor, my family has an honor, we are known, so it will be bad name for me, for my family. Naturally, that will help him, encourage him to be good and just and pious. Well, beside the religious duty, religious piety and all that. And then about the salaries, again, this is the problem. If you give the government employees low salary, always they are inclined for bribery. That is in many third world countries known phenomena, because the salary is not sufficient for rent of his apartment. So how come he live? He has to depend on getting money. Well, you call it a bribery, you call it gift, whatever, from the people in which he is supposed to serve them, and he is paid from the government, from the taxpayers, as it is called, paid, but still he has to take more money from the people. So you say that should not be the case, but you have to give them enough money. Give them an abundant livelihood by way of salary, because this gives them the strength to maintain themselves in order and not to have an eye upon the funds in their custody. Again, whatever government money is in their hand, they will not have an eye there. They are honest toward that. And it would be an argument against them if they disobeyed your orders or misappropriated your trust. Now, if in the future they were not trustworthy, they were dishonest, then you have good argument against them. He said, well, I gave you enough money, why you were insincere? For what reason? So that is a strong argument. Well, if he has low salary, he said, what can I do? Your salary is not sufficient for 5 days living, Naturally, I have to take from people, or I have to snatch from government money. So that is an excuse for him. But if he is maintained well and properly, and he is self-sufficient by the salaries he is giving, then there is no excuse for him to be dishonest. You should also check their activities and have people who report on them who should be truthful and faithful. Now, you have to check what they do yourself so that you are aware what different directors are doing. Secondly, have some people who are honest, sincere, to get you the news of what is going in your government, in your area. If the people report bad things about your governors, then you remove them and get a better people. You know, it happened about Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam himself. You know, after Muawiyah became power, after assassination of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, and Muawiyah came into power, many people from different tribes, they used to visit Muawiyah to get whatever money they deserve for that tribe, because all the fund come to Baytul Mal and has to be distributed for different tribes. So one of the ladies, she came, and she was very respected lady, head of her tribe, and she's good, talkative, and she came asking Muawiyah to give her whatever rights for her tribe. So she was representing her tribe. Muawiyah knew her, and she said, "You were the women at the Battle of Siffin, encouraging your people to support Imam Ali and fight with me, and now you are coming to ask me for the money." Well, she said, "Okay, that time has passed, so many years has passed." And he said, no, you have no right. Go away from here." Then she recited 2 lines of poetry. It's meaning that may Allah bless the grave of that person who was just, who was kind, who was honest, who was caring for the people. Then Muawiyah asked him, "Whom do you mean?" She said, "I mean Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam." Muawiyah said, "Okay, what have you seen from Ali?" He said, "One day the ruler of Ali in that village city, he was doing injustice and was very rude. I went to Amir al-Mu'minin. I came, Amir al-Mu'minin was praying in the mosque. When he saw me sitting there, he knew that somebody is coming to ask him. So he was quick to finish his prayer, not to delay the prayer, because need of the people is more important. So quickly he finished his prayer and asked me, 'Oh women, what do you want?' I told him the story. He started weeping, and he said, 'By Allah, I did not order them to do that. They did that injustice. It is not good.' Then right away he wrote a letter, and he changed that governor in that area with another one, and told him that whatever fund and money is there in your hand, you count it, somebody else is coming to get it from you." So you see, if it is reported to him, right away he will take decision. Now she tell Muawiyah, now you are in power, you compare yourself with the justice of Ali ibn Abi Talib, salamullah alayh. Muawiyah felt ashamed, and he said, "Okay, tell me how many people is your tribe?" And he gave him money, and I said, "Let her go away of Sham. If people of Sham know about morals of Imam Ali alayhi salam, they will be inclined toward Ahlul Bayt. Now let these people go away right away." So this was the policies of Amir al-Mu'minin. Uthman ibn Hunayf was the government of Amir al-Mu'minin for Basra. And what happened, that some rich people invited him for a dinner, luxurious dinner at that time. Who is invited? Only the rich and powerful people, not the poor and needy people. It's not invitation for public, invitation for a special group. Now, as a ruler, he was not supposed to go there, because to go there means to sit with them. He is influenced by them. That, they are making food for him, inviting him. That is a thing which he has to look after them in the future. So Amir al-Mu'minin wrote a full letter, which is mentioned in Nahj al-Balagha, that, "Oh Uthman ibn Hunayf, I heard that you were invited to a feast where the needy people are not there and the rich people are there, and you enjoy to eat those different types of food. You have to follow footstep of your Imam, that it is sufficient for him. He has only 2 dresses, one for summer, one for winter, 2 dresses only, no more. and from his food, بقرصيه, only one piece of bread he had. That is how your imam lives, you know. I know you cannot do that, but at least you have to follow what your imam is doing as much as possible, you know. And he said, وَلَعَلَّ بِالْحِجَازِ أَوْ الْيَمَامَ, might be in Hijaz, in Arabia, or in Yemen of today, مَنْ لَا عَهْدَ لَهُ بِالشَّيْءٍ, somebody who has no food to be satisfied. So I have to live in a situation in which the most poor people in my ummah, in my government, are living. So minimum is just to live is only one piece of bread, you know. Use to put either salt with it in order to be chewable, or sometimes with milk, you know. He will not even mix two things, salt and milk, no. He said either milk or salt. That is only with the bread, piece of a bread, that's all. Even sometimes they want to put butter on it, he said no. It should be only a plain piece of a bread, because that is the minimum life the imam should live in that situation. He lived almost 5 years in Kufa, 4 years in Kufa, and he did not have a house for himself, no castle for himself. His nephew has a house, and he lived in house of his nephew. And when he died, there was no house for him. So, and he told the people that these are my dress that I came from Medina. Still, I have not purchased a new dress from the fund which is given to Baytul Mal, you know. So Imam is so much strict and careful about the people. So only ordinary feast, you know, invitation. The mayor of the city, for example, is invited for an invitation, and Imam said, no, you should not accept that invitation. Okay, if he is good making invitation for all people, you are one of them, fine. Everybody is fed, okay, that is good. And otherwise, you know, only for special people, and the poor and needy people are deprived, as a ruler in that area, you should not accept it, you know. So you see what Imam is discussing in this issue. Well, there are some other classes, you know, maybe inshallah in the coming session we will continue it. والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.